Let's hope this works this time. Okay, get up. Nope. Okay. Had some technical difficulties there. Hi! Let's see who shows up. I think I can get the chat on there. Okay, I think it should be popping up if you wanted to ask some questions. Just gonna wait probably a couple more minutes just to see who shows up. It's a nice cloudy day here. I'm sitting in front of my window. Should apologize if you hear any traffic or construction, because there's probably about 5 condos being built in my area here, so it might be a little noisy. We'll see. Just having some tea. So I thought this would be kind of a fun little exercise to do today, just for something to do, because I sort of have been isolated for a good week. I don't know how many of you know this, but I actually have 2 real jobs, regular jobs. One has completely shut down, so I've been lucky to be able to work from home for my other one. So, but still, I haven't left the apartment in quite a while. So I think I did laundry last night, and that's the only time I've left the apartment. So a little bit stir crazy. I've been doing a lot of sewing, which is nice. It's been kind of refreshing to be able to sew from home and have the time to do it. Got 7 dresses done for clients last week, so that was a good thing to get off my plate. But so I just missed you guys, and if you want to pop in the chat, I think it should be on there. I think I have it on live chat, I think. Yeah, hopefully it pops up if you guys have any questions. So we'll wait to see how many other people come, but today we're basically gonna just be doing a little paper pattern draft lesson with these. These are available on my website right here. In the latest blog post that I did. I know it was yesterday that I posted it, so if you haven't had a chance to go onto threadora.com to download it and print it off, now's a good time. You can always go back to this lesson and replay it and be able to follow along. So it's basically a half-scale pattern that's on 2 pages. We've got the front and the back. We're going to be cutting these out and doing a little paper pattern draft, so doing our design lines. And we got a couple people watching, so this is the design we're gonna do on the paper. This is a crumb dress I'm doing for a client, and I just love how simple it is. It's a very kind of 90s look. It's got that straight across neckline, low back, and I've done these cute little adjustable straps, which was actually a first for me, so it was kind of fun to figure out. Because she tried this on, and it was very difficult to put over and figure out the straps. She was kind of overwhelmed with putting it on, so I'm like, let's just put some removable straps in the back so that, you know, she can leave them undone, slip it on really easily. So that's sort of what we're going to be drafting on the paper. So hopefully you guys can follow along, but I'm probably gonna move my camera, I guess. Sorry, it's the first time I'm doing this. Doing this live is kind of interesting. Usually I could stop and edit, and then yeah, so I think we'll start with the front piece. So if you haven't printed this off, it's on my website. You can do it later. You can just watch me for now. But front and back. So I think we're gonna I guess go over what you need. So other than the pattern, of course, regular drafting stuff, I've brought out, you know, pens. I like using different colors for my design lines just so they don't get mixed up. I usually go with pencil though, just my first lines I do pencil just because in case I mess up I can erase, but I'll just use pen for today. You're gonna need scissors, some good rulers. A grid ruler is really handy to have, and of course some French curve. Now I have these. I used to have another one, but it broke last week. My husband was trying to be nice and making some room for me by my table, and he dropped it. So I had that one for years and years, and it just completely snapped. So I'm mourning the loss of it, but I went to go buy another one, and it was too much money. It was like $30 for a flimsy plastic ruler, so I'm like, no. But yeah, let's start with cutting out your pattern. I'm not used to talking so much lately. I needed some tea. So I'm gonna start with the front. I'll just cut this off screen because I'm sure you all know how to cut paper out. But yeah, just let me know what you guys have been doing, how things are going for you in these crazy times that we seem to be in. I know I've been missing social contact, that's for sure. It's amazing though how many people have slowed down and kind of just thought about their situation. I know working from home these past few days, I've been kind of reminded of how nice and like what my goal is kind of in life. I've always wanted to be full-time sewing and designing on my own, and working from home just comes so naturally to me. Oops. So whenever I get a chance to have like a day off work and do this all day, it's really refreshing. I can have my coffee in the morning. I feel like a total entrepreneur, which is nice. You know, it reminds me of my goals. I should always think positively. That's another thing I've been trying to do in these times, because yeah, it's pretty stressful when you have a job and suddenly it has to close down. I think people are realizing a lot of things right about now, especially for employers. I think they're realizing how valuable people are, which is really nice, because look at how much chaos has happened just so suddenly. Definitely unprecedented times we're living in. So I hope you guys are taking good care of yourselves. So we got, I hope I'm not making too much noise there. So I got my side front, and I've done my center front. So this is a complete basic sloper, so it goes all the way up to your collarbone, shoulder seam, and I like to start, if I'm doing princess lines, I start with a princess line. Some people, because I've had them already made, so I just use that, and it makes it a little easier. So I thought I'd make that for free for you guys to download and play around with it, because that's how I started pattern making. You practice on these little half scale, and you can practice moving darts and slashing and spreading and making nice gathers, and there's so much you can do with paper. It's how I started. I'm cutting out the back now. So 4 pieces to a bodice, and this ends at your natural waist. So then you can move on to doing like a skirt for the rest of the dress, or you can make this into a top, a nice spaghetti strap top, which is cool. I've always loved doing paper. I tend to lean more towards paper than draping. Draping I save for really super complicated designs that I can't really wrap my brain around. I'm like, how am I gonna do this? So it's just nice to have it on a form, and you can visualize it easier and work with the fabric really nicely. So that's the side back there. And one more piece. I really like cutting out. This reminds me of like arts and crafts, and it's pretty much the only arts and crafts I do. I've never been a craft sewer or like sewing stuffed animals or pillows or anything like that. I've always just loved dresses and designing them, and I find sewing really therapeutic and something to focus your mind on, which is something we really need right now, I think. When you're stuck at home, you want something to occupy your brain, which is nice to take your mind off things, because I don't know about all your situations, but it's kind of stressful right now. So this is very nice. I like this. Okay, so I'm gonna put all that on the floor and clean it up later. So we got our back, so it's the same kind of concept. It's all the way up to, you know, your back of your neck. So we're definitely we're gonna pretty much remove all of this to about here. And these patterns have no seam allowance on them. So that is something you do after you've done your design lines, because you can true up the edges much easier. So I think I'm gonna move the camera, down to my table so that you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna start with the front. So I'm gonna put in as I cover up the whole camera. Okay, let's see if this works. So I'm gonna go here. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, let me just check. Okay, so the front is gonna have to be lowered and created a nice straight across, and then it's gonna have to slope down to the back here, right? It's gonna have to go across like that. Okay, so I'm gonna get my pen, and I think what I start with is moving this dart here, or dart. The princess line now is in the shoulder, which is usually for jackets, and we don't need that. So I'm gonna take probably my French curve here, and I'm just gonna find a nice spot to put it in the armhole, the arm side. And we're gonna draw a line just to round off this. So that makes a nice line there. So it's gonna go kind of halfway in between, just to get a nice curve going here. I like rounding off my bust point. So you're gonna need some tape, which I forgot to mention, so you'll also need some tape. But we're gonna start by cutting that off. Just like so. So we have a nice side front now. And you're gonna take that piece and we're gonna kind of tape it to the side, or the front piece. And you can overlap a little bit, but as long as your shoulders match there, you should be good overlapping that line. There we go. Gotta love the tape. So now we have like a new front piece pretty much. Right? Lovely. I like that. So now you can see where these are going to be sewn together. You have a new dart position. Yeah. Just going to do this a little bit. There we go. So this notch marks your bust point, which is always a good notch to keep. So the next thing we want to do is we want to look at our front and where we want that neckline to go down. And of course this is half scale, so you can do this by measuring on yourself or a dress form how far you want your actual, I think we're only going to do 1 inch. Otherwise it's going to be touching her collarbone right here is where it's going to be. So on a full scale, this would be like 2 inches down from your collarbone. So I think 1 inch is a good place to mark. And I think I'm just going to square off from the center here. Just go straight across for now, like so. So then we're gonna kind of, now we have to start planning where it's gonna curve down. And if you have a sketch or a reference, you kind of look at that and figure out where your design lines are. You can even draw, put some, what's called, tape on your mannequin and figure it out, how it curves along the side of the body. Okay. Let me see. So I don't want it to go too close to there. I'd probably go down something like this. And you can always measure that over. These are so handy to have. So if you want to keep your pieces together like that, I'm going to go like this, I think. Just nice and gently draw, ending up straightening out there. So that will be our new line. And you can go ahead and cut off these remaining pieces. Because I think, actually, I think this might be too close. I think I want to keep going. So to do that, that gives us a good start. So let's leave it there for now, and we'll figure out this back situation, which we don't need 2 pieces for the back, so we're gonna tape these together and come up with a better see how, yeah, I'd probably even this out a little bit afterwards. On my seam allowance, I'd probably add a little bit more there, just to curve it out a little bit. But for this part, so we're gonna totally eliminate this top part. So working on the side now, we're just gonna sort of hold these here for a bit. So this is where your arm is, and we kind of want it to be, let's see, let me focus. I kind of want it to also be, so that would be 2 inches. The back would be 2 inches, yeah. So on a half scale, we'd be like 1 inch. So if you wanted to tape these temporarily, you can do that as well. But we're gonna pretty much do a nice curve that is gonna go down and across. I also like to sort of square off this so that it has a nice unpointed straight line. So I think because I don't want this to shift, I am gonna tape it temporarily. I think that would be a smart idea. If I could just get it to stay, that would be nice. So we'll just put a little bit of tape there, like so. And need another kind, maybe? Just trying to, I have so many of these little French curve things. Maybe this one might be a better one. So, I'm gonna go kind of like so, like match up this angle here to the bottom. So this is sort of where I do like a pencil line first and be like, okay, we want it to sort of end up like this, and then we want to move our curve over a little bit. It's stuck. I'd probably switch up the angle here just to sort of curve that out. Then we have sort of match our line up. So yeah, that looks good. So you can go ahead and just trace over that. See what I'm doing? I'm like moving this all around, sorry. This curve, nice. There we go. Oops. Yeah. There we go. That's pretty good. So this will be our nice open back. We eliminate this sharp angle here. And so we just kind of want to remove your tape or slice it. Silly piece. There we go. All right. So now we can start cutting out our pieces on our blue lines here. Right. Scissors are kind of dull. So you want to tape up any uncut pieces. So this will be our front. And we're going to cut our back here. There we go. And then move on to our side back and center back. Cut along our new lines. Scissors are very dull. And for this awkward bottom part, it's not too angled. It will stretch out in the fabric and make a nice curve. You can also take this in because there will definitely be a guideline there in the body's form. to take that in just so that it lays closer to the body. That's like a simple little trick. There's also one, you know, kind of where the princess seams are. It might be needed to take in. I know I had to do it a lot when I did the fitting for this one. Because we're squishy, we're not solid. There's gapes and places where our bodies move that you need to account for, and you can only do that when you have the pattern on fabric and on the person. So now we have our teensy little piece there. We want to mark where we're gonna put our strap. So I usually do like a little dot. We want to make sure our little notches are still there. We probably don't need that notch. If you wanted to do another one for here, you can do that. So these are obviously just temporary till we draw the seam allowance. You could do one notch there. I kind of like always having two on the princess line there. You can also do one for the side seams, but it's not super necessary. There we go. And there's your center back. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. It's a really simple bodice top. It's gonna have some nice straps, which are easy to do. Yeah, so I'll move this back up. There's my hand. Hello. All right, so that was pretty much the lovely design that we did. You would go and tape these onto a new sheet of paper and trace your seam allowance, whatever you choose to work with. I usually do 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch if it's the princess seams. That's kind of easier to manage. Less seam allowance is better for princess lines. I like to leave extra on the side seams or where zippers are, so like 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming to watch. I hope this was fun. If you liked it, make sure you like this video. Maybe I'll do some more of these kind of simple drafting exercises, maybe even some draping. It was kind of fun to do live because usually I'm recording and I'm editing out things, and so this is kind of spontaneous and fun, and I hope you guys really liked it. Take care of yourself, and I will see you next time. Bye!